In the March 27th Nintendo Direct, Tomodachi Life 2 was announced for 2026. This is exciting in itself, and what this means for Nintendo could be huge. It seems like a lot of the things that were taken for granted about Nintendo in the 2010s are now back in demand. It's as if we as a society have finally realized that the charm of the previous era of Nintendo is something that we are now finally ready to appreciate. I think the utilitarianism of the Switch era kind of woke people up to that, and the resurgence of past aesthetics like Fruitiger Arrow has helped. I actually have a few other videos where I talk more in depth about all this if you're interested. The fact that they are reintroducing Tomodachi Life, a game that is the prime representation of the zaniness and charm of the era, could be a sign that Nintendo recognizes our desire for the return of Miis along with that Wii U era's cutesy vibe. Perhaps the bringing back of Tomodachi Life is a premonition for what is to come on the Switch 2. What about a Mii Plaza, an interactive UI, Street Pass, and something like Miiverse? The commercial that they put out for the virtual cartridge feature included Miis in it. In fact, that whole video was very much like something Nintendo would have put out in 2015. I was almost expecting a 3DS or Wii U to pop up on the screen. It seems like Nintendo is catching on to what many consumers want. This is a concept that I've noticed that I call market lag, which kinda sounds like it's already a term for something, but I'm giving it a new meaning. Basically, the idea that when corporations put out something, we reject it, then they start to give us what we want, and then we start wanting the old thing back, but the corporation is still in the mindset of us wanting the new thing, so there's this bit of lag until the market catches up and we end up getting the old thing again. I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy. I talked about this in the past issue of my magazine. The iPhone 5C is also one of my favorite phones, and I agree that its underappreciation is an injustice to its nice, vibrant colors and aesthetic correspondence to iOS 7. It seems that its playfulness was just not so valued at the time in that market. I feel like it was underappreciated in much the same way as the 3DS and Wii U were, in their playful features and UI design. It seems that in the time period when companies were giving us this style, it was rejected. And ironically, once brands caught along and started producing more serious products, per se, we as a consumer base are now ready to accept the old designs, craving that playfulness and charm. Perhaps you could call this market lag? Anyway, it's getting too philosophical. This game is funny because it kind of looks like Animal Crossing New Horizons, but just with only Miis, which is an interesting look. I have to say, I do miss those iconic, classic graphics of the 3DS system. There's just something about it that can't be carried over. The exact right amount of pixelation, rough edges, and jagged shadows that just make it so authentic and comforting. Also, the new app that Nintendo put out is a nice surprise and something that I'm actually really excited about. I love when Nintendo does this kind of stuff. I think it really fosters the community and brand. The app also reminds me of something from the Wii U era. Actually, it really reminds me specifically of when Splatoon had its own website just for news and updates for that day. Anyone else remember that? I specifically remember compulsively checking that website every time I had a break in class on my school iPad. Oh, 5th grade. Anyhow, thanks for watching. See you next time.